Today on The Big Story, yet another personal data breach at public healthcare institutions. First it was SingHealth, now it's the National Healthcare Group. We preview the Taiwan election ahead of polls this Saturday. Is President Tsai Ing-wen set for an extraordinary comeback? Local burger brands are giving international ones a run for their money. Find out how. It's the end of the work week and you're watching The Big Story, where we will discuss the hottest topics of the day and explain why they matter. I'm Haryanto Diman, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. Public Healthcare Cluster National Healthcare Group, or NHG, has been fined $6,000 for not securing personal data. This comes a year after another healthcare cluster, SingHealth, was slapped with a $250,000 fine for failing to secure patient data. In the case of NHG, a list containing the information of 129 doctors was found by one of them when she did a Google search of her name. It contained the full names, mobile numbers, NRC numbers, and photographs of some of the doctors. This list should not have been accessible to non-authorized users and members of the public. 5 other companies, including Safra and Creative Technology, have also been sanctioned over the past 2 months by the Personal Data Protection Commission for similar failings. Now, to discuss more on this, we have journalist Haris Baharudin. Welcome, Haris.
Hi.
Haris, first up, why is the fine on NHG significant?
Okay, so if you go by the amount, $6,000, some people might say it's not that significant because we've seen, I mean, you've heard me comment on the show a couple of times, and we've seen fines that have been, in the tens or even hundreds of thousands. But it is significant because this is yet another healthcare cluster that has been found to not have adequate security practices. This is, of course, comes after the hefty $250,000 fine that SingHealth got for causing Singapore's worst cyber attack, where hackers got into the database and stole the data of 1.5 million patients, including that of Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. So it's worrying because healthcare data is very valuable. It's personal data that binds to you, and it's not like something you can change. And with it comes things like your full name, your blood group, these things that can identify you. And some people have even said that healthcare data might even be more sort of valuable than credit card data, even which can be changed.
Now,
So,
Haris, having said all that, what have the healthcare clusters done then to prevent such failings? I mean, one case is definitely one too many, and now there are 2.
So at the end of last year, there was a committee that was put together by the government to sort of look into how the public sector treats data security, and they've made some recommendations which the government have accepted to sort of overhaul some practices that the government has when it comes to data security. So one of these, so there's been a commitment for all public agencies to only collect and retain this individual data or people's data when only it's absolutely needed, and making sure that it's properly safeguarded and they have secure ways of storing. So things like making sure there's multi-factor authentication when you want to access it for privileged users, or adding random strings of data, of information to the data to modify it, or to modify stored passwords so that bad actors, even if they steal them, then they can't read them. So there are some movements on this front now.
Now, Haris, could you tell us more about the cases of the other 2 companies which have also, as it were, breached the data as well?
Sure. So about every month, PDPC releases information about new financial penalties that have been doled out to whatever companies that have sort of breached the privacy data laws here. So actually, there are 5 other companies that have been sanctioned over the past 2 months that the PDPC released information about yesterday. So the 2 that you mentioned about, one of them is the Safra National Service Association. It was fined $10,000 for not protecting the personal data of members of its shooting club. So an employee had actually sent out 2 separate batches of emails attaching spreadsheets that contained the data of some people. And there was also a fine of $15,000 imposed on Creative Technologies for not having proper security arrangements in a forum that they managed.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much, Haris, for coming to the show to share more on this. We certainly hope that there is no repeat of such cases anymore. To read more on this, you can check it out on our website, straitstimes.com. Moving on, the Taiwanese will go to the polls on Saturday to vote for their president in a closely watched election. Separately, voters will also pick the legislative members of the parliament. Some 19 million people are eligible to choose between two leaders with very different visions for Taiwan's future. President Tsai Ing-wen of the Democratic Progressive Party is seeking a second term. She has pitched herself as a defender of Taiwan's liberal values against the authoritarian shadow cast by Beijing. Her main competitor, Mr. Han Kuo-yu, from the main opposition party Kuomintang, favors much warmer ties with China, saying it would boost the island's fortunes. The third presidential candidate, James Soong, leads the small People First Party. Ms. Tsai won the 2016 presidential election comfortably with more than 56% of the vote and is now the favorite to win. Out of the parliament's 113 seats, the DPP now has a majority with 68 seats, but is projected to lose that majority in the upcoming elections. Now we have Global Affairs correspondent Goh Swee Noi. She is live on Skype with us. Hi, Swee Noi.
Hello.
Hi, Swee Noi. If we could start, who do you think will win the elections? I mean, we're talking about the hot favorites here. Let's begin with the presidential elections. They offer very different visions for the country.
Yes, Harento. As you've mentioned in the video, Tsai Ing-wen, the incumbent, is the favorite to win a second term tomorrow, and this is actually a rather dramatic reversal of fortunes for her, because at the end of 2018, the DPP was routed in local elections and her popularity dipped to 24.3%. She was even challenged in the primaries of a party to choose a candidate. But since then, things have changed. In January last year, Chinese President Xi Jinping reiterated reunification under the one country, two systems formula, which she rejected strongly, and this led to a rise in her popularity.
Right.
And then the political turmoil in Hong Kong happened, in which protesters demonstrated against the erosion of freedoms under the one country, two systems formula, and demanded greater democracy. So this turmoil in Hong Kong actually made her rejection of one country, two systems, and her reduction of an attempt to reduce Taiwan's dependence on China economically, popular policies.
Now, Swee Let's now talk about the legislative members of parliament as well, known as the Legislative Yuan, right?
Yes.
How about that? DPP is expected to lose the majority there. Any comments on that?
Yes. Well, it was actually expected to lose the majority because the KMT did so well in the local elections in 2018. However, the KMT has not capitalized on that and has lost ground since then. It's made some missteps, including for the geographical representation seats. It put on its list, high up on its list, pro-Beijing candidates, including a general who had traveled to China and met Chinese leaders. And this at this current climate is really not popular at all. So it has actually lost some ground. So the DPP actually just might retain its majority in the legislature, although it is being challenged by smaller parties, which could cause it not to actually get a majority, although it will be the largest party in parliament if things go well for them.
Right. Now, Swee Noi, we understand that you have a full evening of rallies to attend. Could you tell us more about that?
Well, actually, I attended one rally last night, Han Kuo-yu's rally, right in front of the presidential office, actually, the Ketakalan Boulevard.
Yeah.
and it was really a huge crowd. So the candidates have taken their campaign battle to the internet, including Facebook. They've taken it to the legacy media and also to the streets.
Right.
So each side is trying to use these massive night rallies to boost momentum of their campaign
Yeah.
and to bring out their supporters to the polls
Right.
tomorrow.
Right. Thank you so much, Sunoy, for coming on to explain to us what is happening ahead of the Taiwan election that is happening this Saturday. Now, you can follow Taiwan's elections closely via our website, straitstimes.com. And now let's move on to What's Trending, where Dylan will share with us what's buzzing in the internetverse. Over to you, Dylan.
Thanks, Arianto. It's time for What's Trending. First up, royal drama continues as Queen Elizabeth and other royal officials try to thrash out a plan for Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, after their shock announcement on Wednesday. Can they actually quit as royals? With this unprecedented move, one of the main questions raised is this: how would a couple be what royal biographers call half royal?
He's a grown-up. They're making their own move.
I really don't care.
We love it in America.
Yeah, I think they underestimate. I keep hearing, she did it, it's her fault. I think he's a grown-up, and I think this is something he's been wanting to do.
Harry's totally dominated by Meghan Markle, so he does what he's told to do.
And I feel like it's smart that they're saying we want to live independently, because it's what happens when you live independently. You're a grown-up, you pay your own bills, right?
They should have their royal entitlement taken away if they're not prepared to do their royal duties.
Now, Twitter too has been divided. One particular tweet says a 35-year-old man doesn't need to ask his grand's permission for a career change. Maybe not if your grandma is the queen. Now, moving on to local news, a 13-year-old girl was found dead at the foot of a multi-story car park in Pasir Ris. According to Shin Min, she was believed to have been cycling in the car park when she crashed against the railing and fell to her death from the 6th story. Police are investigating. And lastly, New Year, new notes. With Chinese New Year just around the corner, local banks like DBS POSB, OCBC and UOB have begun releasing new notes for customers. DBS POSB customers can withdraw from pop-up ATMs at 20 community clubs and will also receive 2 sets of the bank's red packets made from environmentally friendly paper. OCBC has also released what they call the Fortune Pack, which contains 100 $2 notes and 30 $10 notes. I'm Dylan Ang, and that's all we have for What's Trending today. If you've seen a story you want to share, tell us on Straits Times' Facebook page.
Well, thank you so much, Dylan. I think it's not too early to say "Wada!" All the blessings to everyone right there. Burger lovers, time to sink your teeth into these delectable homegrown burgers that will give international brands a run for their money. Local burger joints are elbowing in on the market and gaining traction with diners here. Many local burger brands are offering gourmet quality burgers with premium ingredients at affordable prices. Among them are the Social Outcast in Tampines, Burger Frights in Joo Chiat, and Ordinary Burgers at City Square Mall and EMK Hub. Those who want to opt for meatless burgers will not miss out as well. With plant-based patties all the rage now, more burger joints are dishing out meatless options. Certainly looks very yummy right there. Now we have with us a food correspondent, Eunice Quek, to tell us more. Welcome, Eunice.
Hi.
Now, Eunice, if you could start us off, could you tell us a bit more about these local burger brands? Which one is your favorite?
So, actually these brands have been around for a while, since last year, but I think, we don't really notice them that much because, Spotlight has always been on the big ones.
Yeah.
And they're really making an effort to keep prices reasonable while offering premium ingredients, and I think that's very important. There are some interesting concepts. So there's this place called the Flame Shack. It's actually a very trendy thing now called like a virtual restaurant. So basically you have to order the burgers via a delivery platform.
Okay.
If not, you go to this like a cold kitchen space in Tampines, where there is a dine-in space, but you only get your burger still via a self-ordering kiosk, and you have to collect it from like this numbered locker.
Right,
So it's
right.
a different way to eat your burger.
Yeah.
You still get a burger anyway.
Yeah.
My favorite of the lot, to answer your question, is the Social Outcast.
Okay.
It's actually a Muslim-owned hawker stall that's also in Tampines. And what's unique is that the meats are grilled over charcoal and hickory wood, which is not something you find in a hawker stall.
Yeah.
And what they have is this really good unagi burger, and it's basically their answer to the usual quite basic and boring fish burger.
Wow.
Because they wanted to have a fish option, but they wanted to do something a bit different.
A bit different, so unagi then.
Yes.
Right.
And they also have these like chicken skin sides that they do on their own. It's really good. Like,
wow.
great.
And you know, Eunice, talking about burgers, you are a food correspondent. You're definitely a foodie, right?
Yes.
What would you say makes a good burger? What do you look out for in a good burger?
Okay, so good burger, of course, must have really like nice, sizable, thick and juicy beef patty, cooked to about medium so that it remains tender inside, still juicy.
Yeah.
Bun should be, nicely buttered, lightly grilled or toasted. And for ingredients wise, I do like a bit of rocket leaves for a bit of bitterness.
Okay.
You get some nice caramelized onions to get a bit of sweetness.
Okay.
And I also really like grilled mushrooms.
Okay, what
My
do you not
burger?
like in your burger then?
Okay, I do not like a burger that is too wet. Wet to the point where the bottom bun pretty much just becomes like a soggy mess.
Right. So
I'm
if
sure
it
you've had that before.
Yeah, if it penetrates through, that means the juice from
Yes.
the patty, okay.
And what's scary is sometimes it's not juice, it's oil. That's even worse. So it's
yeah,
like all
yeah.
greasy and just, and then the bun's not nice anymore.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And the other thing is I'm not a fan of pickles.
Okay.
Are you?
I'm okay. I mean, if I could take it out, I would. But
Yeah.
if it's in there, then I'll just, bite into it.
I would take it out.
Okay, we talked about, of course, the meat options. Now, there are people who, for either they are vegans or they just choose,
Yes.
to go for meatless. What are the options for those who want meatless burgers?
So quite a number of the stalls, they would have a vegetable option, or they would have, what they like to use is a nice big portobello mushroom.
Yeah.
Because that kind of, makes your patty.
Yeah.
And then some of them, they have the impossible meat patties, the plant-based meat patties. So ordinary burgers, one of the stalls has one of them. I'm not usually a fan of this, plant-based meat thing.
Yeah.
But this food truck called the Good Burger,
Okay.
they are at the Promontory in Marina Bay.
Okay.
Their concept revolves only on impossible meat.
Right.
So there are just 3 burgers on the menu, all with the impossible meat patty.
So it's meatless, right?
Yes, it's meatless. It's a plant-based.
It's plant-based,
It's
okay.
plant-based, yeah. And they do it really well. Probably one of the best impossible burgers I've ever had. They have 2 other flavors besides the basic one.
Yeah.
One is called the Black Thai. It has truffle aioli with rocket.
Right.
And then the other one is a Thai style one, which is called One Night in Bangkok. And it's it has this like dressing on top that's like a bit like a Thai coconut curry.
Yeah.
And what's very important is that a lot of all these plant-based meat patty type of food, they kind of just slap on a ton of like dressing and sauces on top. So you kind of cover. Doesn't really matter what meat you're eating, you can't really taste it anyway.
Right.
But in this case,
It's a good balance.
It's a good balance, yes. So
Okay.
you do get the meat flavors, you do get the juiciness, and you also get a really nice,
So
sauce. to go
stamp
with it.
of approval right there to Good Burger.
Yes, it is good.
So you've heard it from our food correspondent, Eunice Quek herself. You can check out, of course, her article that's coming out this Sunday, all on burgers. And talking about burgers is really making me hungry now. Anyway, it's going to be dinner time soon. Now, there we have it, our top stories for today. For more news and videos, do log on to our website, straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Haryanto. Have an awesome weekend ahead, and we will see you on Monday.